Good morning, guys. Welcome to another studio vlog. Thank you so much for all the lovely positive comments from my first vlog. It always feels a bit scary trying something new, so it was really nice to get your feedback, and yeah, so I thought I'd carry on and try and make this a more regular feature on the channel. So it's Monday the 22nd of March, and over the weekend the fabrics arrived finally for the taro pouches. So I mentioned this in my first studio vlog that I'd ordered them, they were on the way, and so today's mission is to sew all the new taro pouches, and then I'm ready to post out all your orders that I got over the weekend. Thank you so much, I really appreciate it. And I've actually just sold out of my taro size deck, so I need to order some more of those this week as well and get some more from the printers, so hopefully they'll be restocked soon. But I did a little unboxing over the weekend of the fabric when it arrived, so I'll show you that now. So my fabrics and zippers have arrived. This is so exciting. I'm going to take them out. So here's the zips. I love these turquoise ones. I always use these. And then this is the fabric. This is the best bit. Here we are. So this is what I make the taro pouches out of. I get these beautiful organic fabrics printed, and then I just need to cut these out. And the same with, this is the liner fabric that I use as well. Again, it's organic. So I just cut out the pieces that I need, cut out all the panels, and then I can work on stitching these next batch of pouches together. So I'll show you the finished one. This is from the deck that I use. I've got a black zip in there. So I did have a batch of black zips, but I prefer the turquoise. It goes beautifully with this. So also this morning I have sat down and been planning out what I need to get done this week, or things I'd like to do. I'm a little bit behind with my Patreon printables, so I really need to make that my focus this week as well. Their tutorial's going up tomorrow, so that was a real relief. I put a lot of time and effort into that last week. That took a lot of time last week filming that, so that's exciting that that's going up. And I want to experiment a bit more with a new supply, what's new to me, gouache, which I have experimented with a bit in the past. I used it a little bit at uni, but I've not really used it since, so it's a good decade that I've not been using that. So yeah, I want to try and experiment with that in my sketchbook a bit this week. But anyway, so for now it's time to get sewing, so let's get on with that. Good morning. It's Tuesday and it is the most beautiful day outside. Over the weekend we've had the spring equinox and I can really feel spring in the air now. So I'm kind of going to abandon what my to-do list was for today and I'm going to go out for a walk whilst it's really nice weather and it's really warm. And I thought it would be really fun to start looking for signs of spring and then do a journal page or an artwork around the spring equinox, or just that feeling of, you know, capturing this moment. I love this time of year. It's so beautiful. There's something just really magical about everything coming to life. So yeah, let's go for a walk through the woods and look for signs of spring. Hi guys, so I'm back from my walk now and it was beautiful. As I said, it's just a really warm day today, which it hasn't felt like this for ages. But it's been interesting as well as I look for things that I associate with spring. There's still a lot of the flowers that I personally associate with spring that aren't out yet. So things like the bluebells, and also when the leaves start to come out and they're just that zingy, really fresh green, just gorgeous sort of vibrant colour. So it's exciting that that's still to come over the next month or so. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you when it does. But for now, yeah, just lots of like daffodils and really beautiful yellow flowers. And you know, there's still the trees. I love when the structure is shown, so they've not got any leaves on yet and they're just kind of what I would call naked and just the bare branches. And I just love how much detail there is, how many tiny branches there are, and the structure. It's almost like a skeleton, I guess, of the tree. I just think they're really beautiful, so it's quite nice to appreciate that. But the one thing there is so many little birds, and I love that about this time of year. They're out there building nests and you can just hear them. You can't often see them, but you can hear so many of them. They're just singing away, and I love that about springtime here. So yeah, that's definitely something I want to capture in my journal spread that I'm going to do now. So I've taken a load of photos and I've just printed them off on the computer. So I'll show you those now, and then I'm going to make a journal spread about this sort of beautiful springtime equinox. So here are the photos that I've printed out, and as you can see there's lots of lovely little flowers. Look, primroses, the pink campion or red campion, and this, I love this. Let me just show you. So the buds, and they almost look like beetles to me. Another thing that captured my inspiration, I guess, that inspired me, was the speckled leaves. So I love that kind of two-tone colour. But yeah, I think there's some really nice shapes to play with here. I love this as well. This is a similar, like bluebells look like this. They sort of droop over with the little bells. But this is wild garlic, which has just come into flower. So yeah, I'm going to use these as inspiration to create a really nice visual page in my journal, just to sort of honour this beautiful spring equinox time. So let's dive in. Well, today has been very exciting for post, so I thought I would unbox these with you. So I'm pretty sure that this is the cards that we ordered in the last vlog. So the new thank you cards. So let's just see what these look like. This is the first time I've seen them as well. Oh, they look great. Oh, look. And actually, the black has worked out pretty good. I was worried that it would be too dark. I'm pretty pleased with those. So yeah, they're going to go in every order from now on. So if you make a physical order, then you'll get one of these little thank you cards. So that's very exciting. I'm really pleased with those. And the other thing that's arrived is from Jackson Art. So yeah, jacksonart.com. Oops. And it's some new supplies, new art supplies. So basically, if we just unbox this, hang on a second, let me find my way in a second. There we go. Ooh. Oh, another box inside. So here, yes, I ordered some gouache paint. So if you're in my tutorial tier on Patreon, you'll have seen a little journal with me that I did for this month, and in there I experimented with some gouache, but it's something that I haven't used in years, probably over a decade. I haven't worked in gouache, so I thought I would treat myself to a nice little set and have a little play around and experiment and try and get back into it again. So that's my plan for today, is to have a little play with the gouache, do some experiments, maybe do some sketches or drawings, and just try it out really, and see how it goes. So I think I'm going to go and do that now. This is so exciting. Oh, actually, before I put these away, one thing I do want to talk to you about is pens. I get so many questions about fine line pens, so I thought I would just talk you through these now and what my favourites are. So if I just close this and move that out the way. So here are all my black pens that I love to use. So my absolute favourite fine lines are these Unipin black fine lines. I've used these for years. I used them in uni and I love them. I've always loved them. They're waterproof as well, so it means you can draw out a design first and then ink over the top, or watercolour over the top, and it won't smudge. I've seen a lot of people use micron pens, and so I tried the micron pens just purely because loads of people seem to use them. And I have to say, I don't like them as much as these. I tried really hard. I mean, they're very similar, to be honest. I do find, though, that the black is not quite as black with these. It almost feels more of a reddy black, if that even makes sense. This is a real black in the Unipin, so I really love these. The only thing with these, and I don't know if you can see there, probably not very well, but the nibs quite often get flattened or misshapen quite quickly, and I think I must be quite tense when I draw, because sometimes I realise I'm really pressing down on the nib and I have to remind myself to loosen up and let go of all the tension. But I think I do press down quite hard, but it does mean that the nibs get flattened quite quickly with these, so I go through them quite a lot. Whereas I decided to experiment with this. So I bought this, a Copic, I think it's Copic multi-liner, and I really love this, and the nib actually on this has held up really well. So I was really impressed with this, but I found this sort of grey packaging. It was quite hard to find more of these pens, so I've gone for this one. So they're both called the multi-liner, but this one is a .2 and this one is an SP, and this I absolutely love. It is more expensive, but you can get replaceable, in fact you can get replaceable nibs and replaceable ink as well. So I thought I'd give this a go, and so far I absolutely love it. And again, this is waterproof as well. So it's permanent ink, so once you've sketched out your design, you can then go in with watercolour over the top, no problem. So yeah, this is becoming a fast favourite actually. But yeah, so if you're looking for a more affordable pen, go for the Unipin. But otherwise, yeah, I'm loving this Copic multi-liner. Other pens that I do use, especially in my journal, if I'm writing, I just use a plain old, boring, normal, cheap biro. And of course, a Sharpie. That's another thing that I'll use. These do bleed through though, especially in my journal pages, but I do quite like a Sharpie sometimes. You can get nice big marks with it. And as long as you're not going to make art on the back page, they're quite nice to sort of fill out any black areas. Again, it's a really nice black. But yeah, that's my selection of pens. I hope that's helpful to you, and I hope that's answered some of your black fine line questions. Anyway, let's go and do some painting. Good morning. So it's Thursday morning now. And yeah, yesterday I spent quite a lot of time having a little play around with some gouache, which was actually really fun. And I love the way that you can kind of layer it up. It's quite different to watercolour in that respect, where you can actually put lights on top of dark. So I've had a lot of fun playing around with that. I also got this book. Oh my gosh. I'll link it in the description box below actually, but it's really beautiful. There's so many like little projects in here and ideas for getting started, and it breaks it down into simple like bit by bit, step by step, so that's really nice. So you've got your initial sketch, and then you can work your way through just by one coloured layer and then adding in details on the top. So that's been really, really gorgeous, and I think I'm going to have a play around with some of the projects in here today just to kind of get a better feel for the medium. But so far I'm really, really enjoying working in it, and I quite like that almost flat colour that it gives. Watercolour, I love that you can get that gradation and fluidity, and one colour can sort of seep to the next, and inks as well. I love that you can almost get like fractals within inks. That's quite fun to play with. But this, I quite enjoy the difference with the just that flat colour. It's really nice, and especially when you layer things on top, it's just a really different way of working for me. So anyway, I think that's what I'm going to do today. So let's go and do some painting. So here's some of my initial experiments, and this idea of almost creating like a flat colour, whereas watercolour you get that gradation and that kind of fluid flow, whereas this is very opaque and very almost like a solid colour block. And then I love how you can use the white or the lighter colours over the top. Again, you usually have to start light and then add the darker colours afterwards with watercolour. So I'm really loving how much you can play around with this. So adding, look, darks on here and then lights on the top. And again, adding in lighter detail. Here I've used a white pen to add over the top as well. So it's really versatile. It's lots of fun to play with. And again here, so I was playing around with, this is more of the watery effects that you can get, so still quite watercolor like, with the patterns that show up. So this was then dry over the top of, oh no, it's wet over dry. So this, I let this section behind, the blue, dry. So this was, yeah, wet on dry, and this is wet on wet. So you can see again the difference, look, and the beautiful colours that seep together with the wet on wet. So again, there's quite a lot you can play with. That's the same here. So this is wet on wet, and you can see the beautiful pink streaks that just bleed into the background, some beautiful effects. Whereas here you've got the wet on dry, so I'd let the background dry. You've still got these quite watery coloured effects because I'd added a lot of water to the background, but then very solid colour on the top. And again, the lighter pink, it really shows up. So yeah, really playing around, even layering different sort of thicknesses. So letting it be opaque and watery versus that quite solid colour. And here, look, this is more of a dry brush, and then the wet, a really wet brush, and just the different, you know, techniques, the different effects it creates. Oh, and then I was playing around with just kind of some ideas for borders to use in my journal, just ways I could use gouache in my actual journal as opposed to an art journal. So it's quite fun, just making a border and then playing with some motifs. And again, just playing around with how colours blend together. And then yeah, put some stickers over the top. So if you're on my Patreon page, you'll recognise these. This is one of our printable stickers. So easy, just cut them out and stick them over the top. I printed them on a clear sticker paper. But again, just playing around with, you know, the backgrounds and creating different effects. And this was really fun. I loved this. I created a whole abstract painting. And again, it was just layering things up, playing around, scratching around with a paintbrush. There's a white pen gone in over the top as well. Just playing around with layering things up. There's a pencil that I've used in there too, black pen. And you can see here, by adding more water to it, you can still see the black pen through. So that idea of still seeing layers poking through from behind, which I love about working in abstract. So I've got a few more examples I want to show you, so I'll grab those now. So this is my little spiral bound sketchbook, and again just playing around with motifs, and I have a fairly fine paintbrush, but I think I need an even finer one because they're still quite chunky, some of these lines. And then this was working on some of the techniques in that book. So the caterpillars, that was one of the techniques from the Oh My Gouache book. And again, so was this. So just layering up the colour. So really simple, just block colour, and then layering like the patterns on top. And again with the flowers here, which was really beautiful. And that was a drawing. And again, playing around with this abstract and combining things together. So I've got pencil in there as well, but still being very fluid with the gouache. Oh, and then I had an idea. I was kind of sampling different colours. So mixing colours, trying to create colour palettes. But then it gave me this idea that actually you could create your own washi tape as well, which was quite nice. So these kind of beautiful, really vibrant strips. And that's what I love as well about the gouache, is it's very vibrant. So watercolour tends to be quite pastel and sort of dull, which is very beautiful on its own, but once it's dried. But I really love how some of these really pop. These colours are really beautiful and bright. And I've got some papers that I'll show you in a second. I've also got, this is just my little moleskin sketchbook that's got all sorts of things in here actually, collage. This is gouache. So just using, look, the block colour in the background, creating simple washes in the background and then adding in collage over the top. That was really fun. And then yeah, just sort of quite watercolour style gouache, but again, I love the pop. Beautiful, strong, bold colour. So I still need to go in and do the line work over the top of these. Again here, this was, I'm pretty sure this was gouache and not watercolour. Maybe it was watercolour. Can you see how it looks slightly more dull than this? I think that is watercolour. And then this is definitely gouache. So I started with the watercolour in the background. I think this was actually my crayons. And then layering the gouache over the top. So again, quite strong and bold patterns and just that beautiful layering effect. And then again here, just combining it with different medium, playing around with, you know, thicknesses and sizes of marks, pencil in there as well. And this idea, look, wet on wet, can you see here how it's bleeding together, whereas you've got more of the sort of dry as well. So yeah, really fun to play with. And then these are my last few samples. So playing around again, this is like wet on wet here, making some of these beautiful orbs that I like to do. Where's my other ones? So this is what I do with them. So I then sketch around the outside. So I'm just working on a whole series of these with my fine line drawings. So that's really fun, just playing around with those. And then I love working in leaf motifs. So again, very watery effects here. Look at these, some of these just so beautiful. And this is where I've worked with more solid colour. So this was really solid, beautiful, opaque colour blocking here to create really beautiful effects versus the watercolour. So you can see here the difference. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Just from the same medium. So I really love playing with that. And again, I made some washi tapes. Just really fun, layering different colours over the top. Again, working with lighter colours over the top of the darker ones, using pen in there as well. That's been really, really fun. And then doing some bigger abstracts here. So some of these I think are going to end up as downloads for Patreon. But here we are, beautiful. I just love all the textures that are coming through. So really beautiful. These would be great as collage papers in your journal. So you could sort of tear, or like either photograph or photocopy them and then print them out and then tear them up and then collage them into your journal. That would be great with like photographs or stickers and again little washi tape things. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little look through all of my experiments. As you can see, I'm only just scratching the surface and getting started with playing around with gouache. So there's lots more to come, but I hope that's inspired you to maybe have a go at a new art medium. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!